Hi everyone, in this video you're going to learn how to structure your HTML file, add images, and add hyperlinks. So the first thing we're going to do is add in our 5 essential elements. These are super important because without your 5 essential elements, your computer would not be able to function. So doctype HTML is always on line 1. The reason we have doctype HTML is its main job is to signify to the computer that we are writing an HTML file. And then line 2 is always in our open HTML tag. And we know that the purpose of the HTML tag is to be the main container that contains all other elements, as well as also signifies to the computer that we're going to be writing in HTML. I'm going to skip a whole bunch of lines, and down here on line 20 I'm going to actually close my HTML tag. And the difference between an open tag and a closed tag is the closed tag has the backslash, right? So since this is our main container, I'm going to now tab in every time I write a new element. So next up we have the head. The open head tag is always on line 3. And within that, we have our title. So since the title goes inside of the head, I'm going to tab in again on line 4. I just hit space twice, and I'm going to do my open title tag. So my head tag is where I have all my invisible information. My title tag's purpose is to name the web browser tab, right? Think T for title, T for tab. So I'm going to name this Frenchie's with some exclamation points. Since I'm done naming my title tab, I'm going to close it. And then I'm going to backspace twice and also close the head. So see how I'm creating some organization here by lining up the different types of elements, so that way it's easy to tell. I've already closed the head, the title's all on one line, and my HTMLs are lined up as well. So now I'm going to start my last element of the 5 essential, which is the body. And the body is where we have our visible information, right? So that's all our text, our pictures, the headings, the paragraphs. If you were adding in videos, hyperlinks. Notice how when you have an open tag, but there's no closing with it, notice how the elements turn from green to red, right? Red indicates that there's some sort of error. So within the body, I'm going to tab in. I'm going to start with a large heading, and it's going to be, this website's going to be about how to train your Frenchie. Okay. When I'm done with my large heading, I'm going to close it. Oops, don't forget that backslash, right? And then I'm going to skip a line just so I can see a little bit easier. On line 9, I'm going to add in a paragraph, and I'm going to say, it's super easy to train your Frenchie. You just need to follow these instructions. Okay? Be careful with your spelling because Google Apps Script does not tell you when you have spelling errors. So you really need to go back and double check. I'm going to close my P tag. P tags are just for paragraphs, right? And then on line 11, I'm going to put in an image. IMG is the element for images. Images have an attribute associated with them. An attribute just means extra information. In this case, the attribute that's always paired with an image is src, also known as source. You can tell it's an attribute because it always comes after the element, but before the equal sign, right? So that's where my attribute always goes in any of my HTML formulas. Now, I am going to put quotes because anytime after I have an equal sign, I need quotes. I'm going to go find my image. Here's my image. I'm going to do copy image address. Go back here, paste it in, close the quote, and this is a self-closing tag for images. So I'm going to do a backslash and then greater than sign. You'll notice the link is like a dark red brown color, right? And then I'm going to actually add a hyperlink in as well. So we said that we just needed to follow the instructions, right? So I want people to click on the word instructions. I could hyperlink to a picture or I could hyperlink to text. In this case, I'm going to hyperlink to text. And to do a hyperlink, I need to use what's called an anchor tag. So I'm going to do right before the word instructions, less than sign A for anchor tag. Okay, then the attribute that's always associated with the anchor tag is href, right? Hypertext reference. And then I'm going to do an equal sign, right? Because always after an attribute is an equal sign. Always after an equal sign is the quotations. And then I need to get a website. So in this case, I'm going to use this WikiHow website for how to train bulldogs. And I'm going to paste that in, right? So again, I'm still before the word instructions. I'm going to close the quote for the link, hit space, and I need to add another attribute called target. And target equals, again, quotes blank. What that does is that it will open that URL, so in this case the WikiHow URL, in a new website so we don't lose our main page. And then the greater than sign, right? So this p tag is indicating to me that there's some error here, and that is because I opened my a tag, but I have not closed it. So right after the word instructions, before the exclamation point, I want to close the a tag. I don't want to be able to click on that exclamation point. I only want to click on the word instructions. So that turned back to green. If I scroll down, you'll notice that my closing HTML tag is red. Reason being, I opened the body, right, but I forgot to close it. So I'm going to come down here to line 19. I'm going to try to line up the body tag to where I had initially opened it, and then I'm going to close the body as well. Good, and the HTML went back to green for the closing tag. I'm going to save this so I get rid of the red star. That's how I know this saved. Reminder, it does not save by itself. Publish, deploy as web app. And I could add a new project version, added 5 elements and content, right? Update, and then I'm going to click on latest code. Here's my website so far, how to train your Frenchie. It's super easy. You can see I can click on the word instructions here, and here's my super cute picture. So if I click on the word instructions, there we go. It took me right to my Frenchie Bulldog website, but I did not lose my website so far. Last thing I want to do is make the picture a little bit smaller. It's super huge right now. So I'm going to add in 2 more attributes into my image tag on line 11. I'm going to do width equals, and I'm going to do 400 px, px standing for pixels. And then I'm going to do height. Again, check your spelling. You can tell these are both attributes because again, they're lighting up blue and they're both right before equal signs. And I'm also going to do 400 px for this. We're going to see if I save it, publish, deploy as web app, new project version, resized image, right? Update, latest code. I'll be able to tell. He looks a little smushed. It looks like I need to play around with the height and the width a little bit more in order to make this more accurate. So I would come back in here. I would probably leave the height, but maybe make the width a little bit less. Let's see, if I did 200, deploy as web app, updates. You kind of just have to go back and forth until you figure it out. He looks a little distorted still. Maybe I'll bring this down to 300. Try it one more time. And once you get the trial and error pretty good, you can leave your image as such. And he looks very proportional now, and the picture is not as overwhelming as it was initially.